MotoGP returned to Texas for the American Grand Prix, with title contenders finally beginning to reveal themselves after 4 races, with Bastianini retaking the lead of the title by claiming the crown at COTA, and Rins getting his 2nd podium in a row. So let's take a look at the 5 things we've learned from the American Grand Prix. Fabio considering other options. Whilst this isn't strictly race-related, Fabio Quartararo's manager Eric Mahe revealed that they were in talks with other factories over Fabio's seat options for 2023. With his 7th place finish in COTA, Fabio looks more and more likely to be moving teams for 2023. It is still early days, but he will undoubtedly want to be fighting up the front, and at the moment it looks more like Ducati, Suzuki, and perhaps even Honda are fighting ahead of him, in which case he'll want to be looking towards those teams for a seat. This could mean that we see a massive grid reshuffle for 2023, as Fabio's decision will likely have a domino effect all the way down the field as to where other riders fit in with their contracts for the 2023 season. Rins is consistent. One rider who seems to have a safe seat for 2023 is Alex Rins. His form in the first 4 rounds has been impressive and impressively consistent, with 2 podiums in the last 2 rounds and never finishing below 7th. It's a massive turnaround from his 2021 season, where he was crashing out in multiple rounds in a row and had just a terrible run of form by comparison to his teammate. This is exactly what he needed to do for this season to keep his seat, and he's impressed. If he continues this kind of form, Rins could be challenging for the title. His consistency has already meant that he takes 2nd place in the championship standings at the moment, and with this level of consistency, which is what's needed in such a competitive field, Rins could win the title this year. He's well placed to do it. And even with his consistent results, it's not like Rins is giving us a lack of a show. He's giving us an excellent show with a overtake on Jack Miller on the 2nd to last corner in this round. It's been really good to see him happy, confident, and getting those podiums again. And hopefully he can challenge for a title. This is the point in the video where I do that YouTuber-y thing and ask you to like and subscribe. I've got more MotoGP content coming, and I'll continue to do these what we learned from each of the races, and perhaps some Superbikes content as well. So if you want to see more of that kind of thing, please subscribe and join the little community of MotoGP fans we've built here. Thank you very much, and I'll get back to the rest of the video. Aprilia's slump. After their win in the Argentinian Grand Prix, Aprilia looked to have a lot of confidence coming into this round, with Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Viñales doing a good job in FP1 and FP2 and showing what looked like very good race pace. But neither rider managed to make it into Q2, and this kind of hampered their entire weekend, as Maverick finished in 10th and Aleix finished in 11th, which wasn't the result we kind of expected after the impressive race win in Argentina. The result shows that the Aprilia is not yet the most consistent bike on the grid. Unlike bikes like the Suzuki and I guess you could say the Ducati, it seems to work at some tracks and then not at others. And so it'll be interesting to see for each round which Aprilia we see show up. The really amazing, dominant Argentinian Grand Prix winning Aprilia, or the one that gets 10th and 11th place. It will be interesting to see how they progress throughout the season as well, if they can find a setup that works at more tracks, or if we'll see this kind of bouncing up and down the grid. All of that being said, however, it was good to see Maverick Viñales come out on top in that teammate battle between the 2 Aprilia riders, with him finishing in 10th whilst Aleix finished in 11th. And they had some good overtakes and battles between them, with Brad Binder as well getting in the mix there. So it'll be interesting to see how that Aprilia progresses and how Maverick progresses in the next few rounds, since he seems to have found some confidence with a new bike setup. Marquez returns. After 2 rounds out, Marc Marquez returned for the American Grand Prix. And what a race he had. It was full of emotion, as on the start, Marc Marquez fell right back to the 24th and then had to fight his way back through. It wasn't the start he wanted, but the finish was incredible, as he got that 6th place after an epic battle with Fabio Quartararo and really showed the caliber that he is. I mean, we know to win 8 world championships, you've got to be amazing, but to come back from 2 weeks out and straight away have race-winning pace, and he did have race-winning pace. If he hadn't had that terrible start, there was almost no doubt that Marc would have been fighting for at least a podium, if not the win. And it just shows how incredible Marc Marquez is. What a race for him, and there's not a lot more to say. He's truly an incredible rider, and it was an incredible thing to watch him fight all the way back through the field. The Beast back on top. After a couple of slightly lackluster results, Anaya returned to the top step of the podium for what was an impressive win. Anaya conserved his tyres beautifully throughout the race, and this meant that in the late stages of the race he just was able to blast past Miller and take the lead. And similar to what seems to be happening to Miller's seat for 2023, he's just had it pinched away from him. It'll be interesting to see how Bastianini goes for the rest of the season, but at the moment he seems to be the title favourite, with these 2 race wins showing just how good he is and how good that 2021 Ducati was. It seems that Ducati have made a rather large step backwards in some ways with the 2022 Ducati, and this just goes to prove it, with Anaya winning 2 races compared to their factory Ducati riders winning none. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes, and of course it's still early, but we shall see. Anaya seems to be the favourite so far. Rider of the weekend. To me, the only person who deserves the Rider of the weekend has to be Marc Marquez. I mean, he had such an incredible race. I know that start was absolutely terrible. I don't know whether that was machine or him, but nonetheless, to fight back from 24th, which he was after the first corner, all the way back through to 6th is just incredible. And so there's not a lot else to say. Marc Marquez, Rider of the weekend. He had such good pace throughout the whole weekend and all of the practice sessions, so Marc is my Rider of the weekend. Struggle of the weekend. The struggle of the weekend has to go to Alex Marquez. In inverse fashion to his brother, Alex just had a terrible weekend. He didn't look comfortable, and he ended up qualifying in second to last on the grid, which, considering that he's a lot more experienced than those who were qualifying in the similar position, is really terrible. He was over 2 seconds off the pace and ended up crashing out of the race. A weekend can't get a lot worse than that for any rider, and so he has to be the struggle of the weekend. Hopefully he can turn it around for Portimao. He did very well there last year, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But struggle of the weekend, Alex Marquez. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe, like, all of that. And yeah, I've got more MotoGP stuff coming. At the very least, I'll do 1 video per race, but hopefully we'll get more than that. Maybe discuss some rider contracts or some World Superbikes, as I said. That's always interesting, and so we'll see how that goes. But I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.